iyona eyayilawula ngelo xesha yehluleka ukusilungisa.
So they tried to shoot the guys with the rubber bullets. Unfortunately, it never worked.
Very little have changed.
It has been 6 years since the 44 lives were lost during the tragedy.
It was the worst police brutality in South Africa since the end of apartheid in 1994. Lonmin's Marikana Platinum Mine, Northwest Province, August 16th, 2012. 34 miners are gunned down as cops respond to a wildcat strike with deadly force. Now, 6 years on, victims' families still await compensation.
Ukuze ndikwazi ukuphila njengoba ndiphila ngoku sancedwa yiloo mili yakwazi uba isithathele abantwana isifundisele abantwana ize izosingenisa emsebenzini ngapha koko sithi hayi impilo abingekho. Sise ubomi bam mandiqhubeka uba ndisebenza kuba akekho umntu osebenza. Sise akekho umntu osebenzayo ekhaya kudle kwam. Yonke into imele mna. Nabantwana bebeshiyekile befundiswa nguye sisi. Ngoku kunzima sise, kunzima. Ndiyasebenza kodwa imali ayibonakali kuba baninzi abantwana abandimele. Akho mzali, akho makhulu, akho tata, akho mama. Ndishiyeka ndiyi-one. Kodwa uthixo uba ulonimile wasenza sakwazi uba masiphangele siyazama kodwa lona ubomi abukho right. Khaba sisi nempilo yam ayikho right. Sukela kwenzeka le nto ndaba neswekile ndalala isibhedlele even ke ndalala isibhedlele apha iveki yonke kuba ndingathi ningakubona phaa ekhaya uba kunjani. Kuvaliwe kungoku kuba abantwana basesikolweni kho umntu azovula nje into phaa ekhaya ngase sithi kugcwele nje amangcwaba apha ekhaya. Sokushiyeka mna ndodwa ndimdala phaa kulaa mzi. Phathi kusihamba omyeni wam uba siphethe kakuhle esenzela yonke into kodwa ngoku ubomi bashintsha. Even nalapha njengoba abathu abayeni abasweleke nge-16 straight. Ngoku abanye amamama banikwa imali bomathunja thina silindele imali basiyirhole kuphela. And andazi uba ukufa kuve kuyinto eyi-one na uba sifele sonke ngenxa yesi strike ke.
In the days leading up to the attack, 10 others had been killed in violence related to the strike.
Well, that night it was in Ramadan when my husband passed away. We happened that it was the night that we were preparing for Eid. It was about 3 days for Eid. So he was called to come at Lonmin to assist with the strikers. So when they come, my husband was working as a protection services supervisor. He and his colleague, they will take small car and follow the officers wherever they are going. On that Sunday, unfortunately, when the strikers were moving towards the Lonmin offices, and they were trying to block them, the way I heard from their colleague. And then there's the strikers, because they were outnumbered, because the strikers were about 3,000 dealing with about 10 people. So they tried to shoot the guys with the rubber bullets. Unfortunately, it never worked up until the strikers attacked them, and burned them alive, even including the light-skinned vehicle that they were driving. My husband was a breadwinner. He came originally from Malawi. He had the family. He was a breadwinner. He was the only child because his parents passed away when they were still small. He was the one looking after his sisters and brothers. I have 3 children with him. He had 3 children in Malawi. So it has been very tough. I lost the house that we bought because I could not maintain the house on my own. His pay, imagine that I have to live with my pay. And the other thing, Lonmin took me in his position, but they didn't give me his job, his category of job, because he was working as a C5 position as a superintendent. I'm now working as an administrator. You can see the gap. So it is very difficult. I cannot maintain it. It's just not happening. I feel very disappointed as a South African because South Africa, it keeps on hating us, simply because they recognize the 16th of August, not the 10 victims that were killed by the strikers, that most of them were killed on the 16th of August. They tend to prefer, I don't know if I can use that name, before they are very privileged because they are preferred group. This is what we are seeing in South Africa today. I don't understand why they decide to single out these issues of Marikana, whether it's the politics that makes them to single out, because at the end of the day, we all lost loved one equally so. The death is death and there's no sweet death. And as the widows of Marikana, we meet the widows here, or we all share the same sentiment. We were never there when our loved ones died. We don't even want to be associated with that. We all want to grieve equally and then comfort each other, move forward. We don't want to be divided. Where is this division? So we had now at the moment that there are compensation, which is done for 34 widows. What about us? Who's going to compensate us? Is it Lonmin? Is it strikers? Is it government? So the president is the only person who can answer this. As he mentioned that he is a Tuma Mina campaign, let him come here and solve the story of Marikana, especially for the 10 first victims of Marikana.
Urhulumente ophetheyo namhlanje akakasithatheli njengabantu abanenhlungu esalahlekwa ngabanye babatakwethu xa sikule ndawo. Sasingajonganga into yoba thina kule ndawo singabe kanti sinabatakwethu abangalala ngelo langa. Sasijonge into yoba mhlawumbi urhulumente uzawuza kuthi nekhampani asabele uba bantu baseMzantsi Afrika emveni ko-94 yintoni intlungu yenu, sitsho siyibeke elubala. Kodwa yasibetha kulo nyaka lowo ngoba into esayenzeka, impendulo esayifumanayo yaba yibhuleti. Nangoku sisenombuzo ke ngosizi-workers zalapha eLonmin uba inoba ipolisa elaliphethe isibhamu kweli lizwe lalicinga njani lona ngathi xa lijongise kuthi ibhuleti lingahlanganisi lithi okusalayo ndinigcina kule ndawo, anuzuya kwenye indawo nideske nitsho uba ingxaki yenu yintoni.
Community members have been struggling to make a living following the loss of their loved ones and breadwinners.
Toilet azikho enkanini,
sahlala emikhukhwini amanzi siyawathenga i-20 litre i-25 i-20 litre i-15 rand siyazithela amanzi even izikolo abantwana abafunda kuzo azikho right ibhasi abakhwela kuzo mhlasimbe bakhwele nabasebenzi ziyabashiya ngamanye amaxesha bangayi esikolweni. Iyadi iyashera itoilet eyi-1 kuloo yadi uba sithe sayenzelwa itoilet uba siyenzelwanga siya esigangeni siyohlala esigangeni siphinde ke namanzi uba imoto silinda imoto iba izile ngaloo mini yazosithengisela amanzi uba ayizanga siyahlala singenawo loo manzi. So uba uthenge loo 20 litre uyanyanzeleka uba une-15 rand ye-20 litre uyanyanzeleka uhlale naloo 20 litre ke ude uphinde ube nayo enye i-15 rand okuthenga i-20 litre.
Ithule le ndawo futhi ke siyasokola kodwa ke kuba ayikho into esingayenza ngoba sinamisebenzi so siyazama loo senti siyifumana because ibhizinesi thina siyiqhuba everyday apha kule ndawo. So sometimes singafumani nesenti okanye iveki yonke kungathengwa sipheke kuphela.
The mine workers were killed while striking for better wages and living conditions.
Thina njenge-workers zalapha eMarikana iyona nto isihlukumeza kakhulu empilweni yethu. If sivezwa kumedia sithathwa njengabantu ingathi senze into eyayiphume ecaleni kwimeko yalapha eSouth Africa ngoba sasinesikhalazo sifila indlela esiphila ngayo kwinyanga eyayinzima kakhulu, inyanga yoomama silila ngoba sasingakwazi ukondla oomama ngenxa yemali esasizifumana kwikhampani yaseLone Mill. Eyona khampani besiyithatha njengekhampani inoba inemivuzo ebhetele kwilizwe laseRustenburg.
Besithi ama-RTO wakholi 15,000 to 17,000 ayikho lo le 15,000 kuma-RTOs to 17,000 ayikho lo mali futhi kuzawudlula 2020 bengekayiholi lo mali.
Ithini yona inyani tata abantu nje barhola malini ngoba kaloku nje usitsho nawo uba sithina sixelwe ngolunye uhlobo kuthiwa abantu barhola i-15,000 17,000 ipackage ne-medical aid ithini inyani?
Hayi inyani yoba le mali isephansi kakhulu kule mali ixelwayo. Ewe kona i-AMCO izamile ukunceda abasebenzi ngemivuzo kodwa ayisekude kule mali ixelwe kumphathi weLone Mill le 15 to 17,000 imali erholwa ngama-official leyo.
Ungababona kabanye abantu beze ngolonwabo abanye bezicingela into yoba mhlawumbi thina sizolila sikule ndawo. Kuyintlungu kakhulu ukuthi umntu owaye kule ndawo xa wayenobukela into ayisenzeka mna njenguyibona laa nto abelalitye ndandikweli ayilitye. Ukwehla kwam phaya ndehla ngothotywa kwangemnandanga. Yonke le nto indinika into yoba xa kufike ilanga lanamhlanje nasemqondweni wam ndizibuza uba inoba ndisekulizwe laseMzantsi Afrika eliya ndaqala ulivotela 1994 ngelithi ndizofumana inkululeko.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has said he wanted to make reparations for the Marikana massacre. Ramaphosa was a non-executive director at the London-listed Lonmin at the time of the killings.
And I would like to use this opportunity to address what role I played in my capacity as the Lonmin director in the events of that tragic week. Notwithstanding the findings of the Farlam Commission on my responsibility for the events that unfolded, I am determined to play whatever role I can in the process of healing and atonement for what happened at Marikana.
Ramaphosa later reiterated his promise to ensure victims' families were compensated.
At your 80th birthday, you said you would take me and Julius Malema to Marikana to meet the widows of the departed miners. We could not go because you were not well. You are gone now. I am left to go alone. But I will be guided by your spirit. As you said, and I know that Julius Malema will go with me so that we can go and heal the wounds of the Marikana widows.
Stakeholders and experts have weighed in as government is seen to be dragging its heels on compensation.
After the massacre, the families have been trying to reach out to the state, and it's just that no one has ever tried to come to them. And I think today one of the widows, Mrs. Mosebetsane, did mention that calling upon now specifically to the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, that we are here and we've got so many questions to ask you, and because I don't know why you're not coming to us so that we can ask those questions, and you are the only person that we think only can answer those kind of questions. So they've been waiting and waiting for 6 years now, which I think it should be done soon. If you remember, some time ago, the president did mention that he wants to atone Marikana community. So I think now what he can do, because we just touched one of the very burning issue of what is going to happen to other. There are 7 people that were killed before the 16th of August. And the people who were not killed by the state, they don't know where they're going to claim for, who to sue on that matter. So now if they say they want to atone Marikana, I think they should also just put all of this matter into one. All 44, they should be the responsibility of our government.
How long must we wait? 6 years is enough. If the ANC is not willing to act, then we must conclude that the ANC was complicit in the actions that took place here in Marikana. We would have thought, many of us thought, Uti, not in a democratic South Africa will the police be used against our own people. Yet it would seem that if we don't turn today into a public holiday, it is going to happen again, because the ANC has forgotten about the people of South Africa.
We were commemorating the Marikana massacre. What normally happens, people talk about Marikana massacre, they talk about 34 workers. And in that way, ignore the fact that at the point of that massacre, 10 workers were dead already. Among them, 2 policemen and 2 security guards. And sometimes the 10 becomes too small to be recognized and only focus on the 34. So the massacre is a commemoration of 44 lives that were lost.
We must never have a new scheme that benefits the people at the top and ignores the workers. We are here to ask that instead, Mr. Makara, of giving shares to politically connected people that end up using their connections to destroy our people, let us give shares to the people who go underground so that one day they can stand up and say, I have shares to give to the next generation and the next generation. We need a future in mining, not an apartheid-style mining companies.
Our members continue to make sacrifices in order to transform their working lives. This was epitomized by the 2014 5-month strike, where the majority of the workers at the Platinum Belt stood fast in demands of the living wage. This was the first real test by AMCO to the capital, post-democracy, to remind all of us that although South Africa achieved a political freedom in 1994, the struggle was not yet over in terms of economic emancipation. AMCO carried a radical message to economic emancipation. We demanded a direct ownership of the strategic asset by the workers. During the platinum wage negotiations, we were able to raise the issue of ESOP and demanded that be transformed into a profit-sharing scheme where workers will be represented in the declaration of the profits. Comrade, it is a high time that we as workers can graduate to a proper shareholders of this mine. We must move away from being abused without any prospect of enjoying the fruits of our labor. If we can be the shareholders, it can be workers and the communities who decide what is best for them, our land, our country, our economy.
We were fighting for the return of land. This land was expropriated through colonial means, and even today you are still living under a neo-colonial state. That is why it is always important, and it is a fundamental question, the issue of a return of land to the indigenous African people. This is what we should be pushing for.
July 2018, and the government reportedly offers 100 million rand in damages.
They've also established a trust fund, so monies have been put through the trust fund to deal with these issues. But going forward, hence these bilaterals and engagements, we must find a way where there is interaction, because, for example, in the Eastern Cape, the Department of Social Development, the Department of Economic Development, the Department of Rural Development is working with the various communities that those who have lost their lives and have been injured are actually being assisted. And the most important thing is access to information for government, just like the houses that government has built in Marikana, where there's now a dispute about who is qualifying to get into the house. There are these middle role players. Is it possible that as part of the healing process, healing of the wounds, we must be able to reach out to the most affected, who are the widows, who are the children of those who have passed on, who are the victims, those that have been injured. And these are the things that behind the scenes have been attended to, because they really create a constraint. But we're quite happy that there's been a lot of collaboration and cooperation. And once the situation is correct, for all of us to then come out and make this nation to know what has been done, that shall actually be done.
Findings of the Marikana Commission were centered on accountability, not compensation. This is in stark contrast to the Life Esitimeni incident. Families there were paid out 160 million rand within 2 years of the tragedy, following an arbitration process.
The pace that the state attorney was also going was very slow. I remember it cannot be said it was because of the families. The first offer was given to us in 2016, September. Yes. So we communicated with the families. We were hoping that we're going to get something But out of those, we found out that the money that was offering our clients was just too low. So we had to go back to the table. And then the final offers were sent this year in February. And then we had to consult our clients after like May, June. And then that is the time that the families signed the offers, accepting them. So that was in June. And then in July, that was in end of June. So in July, we had a meeting with the state attorney to finalize everything.